Thank you, Madam President. Great slide. I'm going to cover cybersecurity very, very broadly. In general, there are 4 types of major cyber threats: cyber war, cyber terror, cyber crime, and cyber surveillance. Slide. Cyber war is the use of cyber tactics to destroy industrial, military, and civilian assets of an enemy country. An example is Stuxnet, which was a joint US-Israel attack on Iran's centrifuges discovered in 2010. It destroyed 20% of Iran's uranium centrifuge capacity. Slide. That type of remote control attack can be used against anything. It can be used against a carrier in the Pacific. It could be used against nuclear command and control. So it's a very dangerous remote control capability. Cybercrime. These are non-state actors, legal use of information technology for personal gain. What you see here is a photo of Ukrainian and Russian hackers who were in July 2013. They were caught as the announced biggest cybercrime ever by money lost. It was 300 million in losses. Only 3 of the 5 hackers were actually caught. Cyber terror, use of computer networks to terrorize a population for political purposes. The photo is elite Iranian Quds Force, which has their own cyber attack group. Iranian attacks on US banks have been huge and focused. They're in retaliation for sanctions and attacks on their own security systems, including the Stuxnet. Cyber surveillance is the use of cyber tactics to closely observe criminals, enemies, or competitors. In this picture, you see the snake going from the Chinese to the American side, but I'm sure there's a snake going the other way as well. The types of targets that are attacked, I'm going to cover next. Financial and retail sector targets. This is the CEO of Target, or former CEO of Target before he got fired or were forced to resign. In 2013, during the holidays, 40 million credit cards were lost, and this guy was let go. Government targets. Estonia in 2007 moved a bronze statue of Talon, which you see here, which was a Soviet-era war memorial. The Russians decided to retaliate for this, which included a cyber attack, distributed denial of service on Estonian government portals. Elite targets, organizations and individuals included. This is John Bolton. Iran used his name and personage and persona, they stole it, to fish for other elites in 2014 using Facebook, LinkedIn, and other sites. IT company targets, including Google, Facebook, Yahoo, AOL, etc. Now, from a company perspective, all right, they see the NSA as targeting them and their clients with national security letters, which you see here in gag orders. Cyber tactics. These include a whole laundry list of tactics that have scary sounding names: phishing, Trojans, distributed denial of service attacks, watering hole attacks, malicious bots, false flag operations, backdoors, storage of encrypted data for later use using crypto analysis. The US, China, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and North Korea all do this. I won't get into technical details because this is a broad policy discussion, but you may get more technical information later. Some of the counter tactics in terms of their sophistication, I'm just going to name one, is perfect forward secrecy. It's changing an ephemeral encryption key every hour, every minute, depending on the level of security you need. And the old keys are deleted and not retained. This is a form of polymorphism. This is an example of that kind of thing. On the top, you see static username inputs. On the bottom, you see username inputs that are randomized and regenerated and then deleted every few hours, every hour, every minute. So these things are quite complicated. I have a few policy recommendations. starting with NATO. This is the NATO Computer Incident Response Capability Team located in Estonia. They're teeny, 40 full-time employees. They were very slow to come to in position. They were only given 60 million euros, and that they spent that during a period of 3 years in order to deploy. They've got to be much larger. They've got to have a rapid defense and reaction force capability. Right now, if they're to take real action, they need to go through the NATO command, which requires political decisions that are very broad across very many countries. We need a rapid reaction force that's NATO controlled. The current global cybersecurity budget is possibly 80 billion to 100 billion. These are rough figures, contested figures, but we've got to have much more than that. We've got to double our cybersecurity budgets at least. There are a few cheap wins that we can do, requiring two-factor authentication, requiring encryption on the cloud. We need to determine too big to fail information systems and require insurance, reinsurance, and final government backing for those systems. We need to develop stress testing of interconnected systems. We need to focus not only on defensive cybersecurity, but we need to focus on offensive cybersecurity. These are two sides of the same coin. You don't know what you need to defend against unless you yourself are on the cutting edge of offensive capabilities. These cybersecurity research and development in the United States needs to be centralized, I would argue, in the Department of Defense, because they need both that offensive capability as well as that defensive capability. Finally, for the US, there's some question about how much exactly is being spent on cybersecurity. I've heard different numbers, 26 billion a year for cyber budget for the Defense Department in 2014 with 6,000 cyber warriors. Another number I've heard possibly as a proposal is 60 billion for cyber budget for DHS in the future. I would argue, given the massive costs of cyber breaches, both to the US economy and potentially to the US military in terms of command and control of its most critical weaponry like nuclear weaponry or aircraft carriers, we've got to at least double our cybersecurity. I would argue that we should bring it up to about 120 billion minimum. That's 20% of the Defense Department budget. Thank you very much, and it's a serious issue. I'd like to repeat what you said, which I think is incredibly important. We've got to get our youth involved in the technical aspects of cybersecurity. We've got to teach our youth at the young age, starting possibly at 5. This is actually when I try to get my own daughter to start learning how to computer program, because by the age of 13, you can be a hacker. All right, and we need those 13-year-olds defending our nation from the hackers. Thank you.